Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to end the video as I'm trying to wipe some stuff off the screen, which is probably not the best thing to do. But welcome back to another video. This is a paid request from Lucas, who wanted me to do a commentary on Transformers, the 2007 film. Now, I do apologize in advance. I will be having a bit of eating here because at the time I'm recording, I have not eaten all day. And I know you're like, well, why don't you wait? Well, in a way, this would give me something to do, so I'm not. It's just been one of those days you just feel restless, and it's like you can't sit still for a minute. Me eating will actually be me sitting still. I'll try not to crunch annoying. There are people that enjoy mukbangs. I didn't know what the hell they were until people on my stream told me about them. But anyway, this is a paid request for Lucas, who wanted me to do a commentary on the 2007 film Transformers. If anyone interested in requesting any type of videos, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, a full playthrough, review, re-review, tier list ranking, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal, do have a CashApp as well, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this will be the last of the movies. I just have to do, there's 3 video games. Lucas, I do apologize. It may be a bit late on that because I still have to do another video game before that called Resident Evil Village, which I think is a lengthy game. I've never played before, but I think it is. And then there's a few like oneers that I need to do, but hang in there. We'll get to what I can. Thank you for your patience, Lucas. I do appreciate it, and hope you enjoy. So without further ado, if anyone wants to request anything, PayPal or Cash App are the best ways to do it. Links are down below in the info box. I do apologize for my munching, but I'll pause at the beginning. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. And for syncing is 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5, and we have the DreamWorks logo, which I don't know why, but I forgot DreamWorks did this. I don't know why I forgot it, but I did for some reason. It is 2 slices of stuffed crust pizza and a few chicken wings. So, and not the most healthy, but it is what I got and what I want. Then we have Paramount, who I was told pair of pricks. Just I do think they're a pair of pricks. I mean, with the recent Ninja Turtle films they released, in theaters that is. I mean, the best Ninja Turtles film I've seen recently is one that was straight to streaming. It was that Rise of the TMNT, which surprisingly I liked. See? I'll be honest. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, or if I change my mind, I change my mind. I do remember the hype around this film. It was quite big because, of course, Transformers, popular cartoon, merchandising, a lot of people's childhoods. Wasn't for me in terms of I had some of the toys. I think I had the Optimus Prime with the semi. But I didn't get to watch much of the cartoon. I saw the animated movie, and I liked the soundtrack, but I didn't like, oh, that cool guy, Optimus Prime died, and, you know, where's these characters I hear about, like Bumblebee, and, you know. But I liked the music. I liked the animation, but I didn't like the story. I actually like the G.I. Joe animated movie more, because Sergeant Slaughter's the man. But so I didn't grow up with Transformers like other people did. I was more of a Ninja Turtles kid. With that said, I do remember that when, I want to say at one point, what movie was it? I'm thinking of a different movie. Never mind. I'm thinking of like the trailer for Cloverfield, and people said, oh, that was going to be a Transformer movie, that was going to be a Voltron movie. But when the trailer and teaser for Cloverfield came out, and of course it wasn't the case, And then when the trailers for this came out, people were hyped. People were excited. Wow, okay. And Michael Bay, at this point, he wasn't really looked at with belittlement like some do nowadays. Because, yeah, I think Michael Bay, at this point, he did Bad Boys, great movie. The Rock, even people who don't like Michael Bay, they liked that one. And The Rock is great. Armageddon was a big hit, whether you like the film or not. The Island, I think, is a bit underrated. It didn't do well, though. Bad Boys 2, I think, is a lot of fun. So maybe Bad Boys 2, people were like, okay, what the hell? But, okay, like, this guy, he definitely can make a big, bombastic, explosive movie, which you think Transformer film would have to showcase somehow. And of all the live-action Transformer films, other than Bumblebee, this one is the most watchable. In the beginning here, yes, is the military gun-ho, hoorah sentiment. But I like the actors. I like Josh Duhamel here, who's with the little kid. I liked him as an actor. I thought his presence was natural enough. He's done a few films here and there, but usually more either smaller roles or direct-to-video. Like he was in this film called Fire with Fire with Bruce Willis. That was direct-to-video. That I thought was okay. I think Vincent D'Onofrio was in as the bad guy. Bruce Willis was like a cop. He was in a couple scenes and tries to help out Josh Duhamel. Josh Duhamel played a firefighter. But Fire with Fire I thought was okay. I liked him in some other stuff, but what was he in, like Turistas or something? I can't remember the movie. But he came back for a couple of them, but then some of them he wasn't in. And it seemed like he should have a bigger role, but they never gave him. Same with Tyrese. I think Tyrese does fine. I think Josh Duhamel and Tyrese work well off each other. But then, like, in the second film, they're in it sporadically, and then the third film, like, Tyrese pops up and joins Shia LaBeouf. They're not in the fourth film at all. The fifth film, Josh Duhamel, I think, was in it, because I remember there's scenes with him and Mark Wahlberg, but Josh Duhamel, like, he's with Mark Wahlberg at the end when stuff's blowing up, but it felt like a lot more should have been done with that. And like I said, it just seemed like Josh Duhamel should have had a lot more to do. And in Tyrese I like. I don't mind him as a personality. Even this opening, like, it's a bit, not subdued, that's far from it, but it's kind of, it's serious. You know, you have the military. Here they don't know what's going on. You have this build-up of what's happening. Here's this mysterious helicopter. They don't know who it is. And, of course, the reveal of, oh my god, it's a fucking Transformer. I don't know if they did this a lot, where they had, like, fake humans like that. Well, I guess there's the one that tries to get with Shia LaBeouf and then try to kill him. Was in the second film, I think. So I guess you have that. But and trying to connect to, like, how all this transformation takes place. And one that did Michael Bay, he definitely knows how to give that gusto impression of action. He makes it big, he makes it brash. And they are big set pieces. I mean, this alone, you tell, like, that's real explosions over there. Those are real explosions there. That's real vehicles flying off. And in this stuff, not everything is CGI. He tries to do what he can practically. Like, of course, the Decepticon is practical, but he does do a lot of... I mean, the Decepticon is CGI, but the other stuff he does try to do practical. I'll give credit to that, because some directors wouldn't do that. Just everything would be CGI. So it gives a bit of tangibleness to some of the action when you see real fire, real explosions, real stuff flying around. Now, the shaky cam, I'm not big on shaky cam. Obviously, because of films like Saving Private Ryan and other stuff, they felt like anytime there's a battle, military-wise especially, or even other ones that which is action, it's like we have to do more shaky because that will be make the audience like they're part of the action and they're going through what the characters are going through. But sometimes it can be a bit annoying. I think one of the ways Michael Bay got this film is I want to see Steven Spielberg was more into Transformers. Michael Bay didn't care shit about it. But Michael Bay's like, oh, I gotta listen to Steven Spielberg. And Spielberg's like, I'm gonna produce this, and how about you do this? Just think about all the films Spielberg has produced. You know, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and Gremlins, and Poltergeist, and how even a lot of films Spielberg produced, there was this thing where a lot of them found success. Now we have Shia LaBeouf here, which is a very word I'm looking for, divisive opinion on the guy. Me, I don't mind him as an actor. I liked him in Disturbia, Eagle Eye, even Indiana Jones 4 I don't mind him in. Here, I don't think Shia's the problem. I don't think in these films the characters are the best written. I don't. And, I mean, this one I would say he's the most manageable. But, like, as the character went on, he got more whiny, he got more yelling for Bumblebee, more yelling for Optimus, Optimus! That became like a running gag, meme, whatever you want to put it. And then you're sitting there going, God, you got a car that's a transformer and to do all these things, but I'm more worried about college. I'm more worried about this other shit. It's just, like, I get what they're trying to do, but so many people understandably to be like, fuck you, dude. With your problems, let me trade places with you or something. Without the near deaths, of course. The guy who plays the teacher, I know I've seen him and stuff. I think he was on the TV show House. I think he was in the season where they had a bunch of people that were going up for a position on House's team. And then House just hired a couple of them. One of them was Cal Penn. One of them was this guy. I think that's... I forget his name. I think that's who this guy is. It's funny you get into all this lore backdrop, but it doesn't matter because in the next films, all the Allspark created life. You get to the fucking fourth film, it's this metallic alloy called transformium that created life. It's like, well, which the fuck is it? Because it's just making shit up as they go along. Pulling shit out of their ass. This is where Shia's going to get the car. So the idea is Bumblebee knows who he is following him, so he can get picked up. And Bernie Mac, rest in peace, Very talented. I always forget Bernie Mac is in this until he shows up. Oh shit, yeah, Bernie Mac is in this. I forgot what year he passed away. I know he was in that. What was it, baseball like 3000, Mister like 3000? There's something like that. There was a film he did with Sam Jackson, which I remember being kind of funny, just them kind of going back and forth, talking shit to each other. But yeah, Bernie Mac, wish he was still around. Very funny performer, very talented. Hell, even his bit part in Friday is funny. House Party 3, he steals the. That's why I liked House Party 3 is because of him. Sometimes this is the weird thing that you kind of wonder what audience these movies are for. These are they little kids, maybe they want Transformers, but then it's also for older audiences because okay, someone's doing the middle finger. You have the dogs humping. The parents thinking he's masturbate. You know, Shia's masturbate at one point. Bumblebee, but then like Bumblebee's pissing on someone. John Turturro. So sometimes you're wondering like who the fuck, is the audience? But I mean, they were successful. I mean, you made each of these movies. Well, for the first couple, made a killing at the box office. The fourth film made $1 billion. But after that fourth film, I think people were exhausted and they realized just how awful it was. When the fifth one came out, it didn't do that well. It bombed. Then years and years go by. Michael Bay's not direct anymore. You did another director. You did Rise of the Beast, and at that point, no one gave a shit about new Transformers because with the way these movies are done, with the way these movies are handled, with the way these movies are made, there's only so much you could do because robots fighting robots. So only so many times the people can fly out and they catch the people and put them back in the vehicles. Or they shoot, blow things up, and it becomes repetitive. It feels like you're watching the same thing. Sometimes robots will take 18 hits and survive. Sometimes they take 3 hits and they're killed. Sometimes they're impaled in the chest and they survive. Sometimes they're killed. Sometimes with the Decepticons, you can't tell who the fuck is who and who the Autobots are fighting. So sometimes it'd be confusing. Because the designs is not really the best. And now we have John Voight here. But nowadays he's kind of known persona non grata because of his political beliefs and stuff. But he's a good actor. Back to the day he was in the film Deliverance. He would pop up from time to time. I think he was in, was it Most Wanted with Keenan Ivory Wayans? And Enemy of the State he was in. And this is kind of the start of where you would see these older established actors participate in these films. Because here you had John Voight. In, was it the fifth film, you had Anthony Hopkins. In the fourth film, you got Kelsey Grammer and Stanley Tucci. In, was it the third film, you had John Malkovich. And like you see these guys pop up, you go, well, goddamn, I'm surprised one of them didn't have fucking Al Pacino in it or something. Maybe they kept going and it would have. And that's kind of the thing with these films is that if you don't care about the human characters, they could be a rough ride. And I think that's what got to a point where, in these early films, there were people who did like Shia LaBeouf. I mean, there were. I mean, he was a rising. Again, not everybody liked him, but was Disturbia. Then you had what after this, Eagle Eye, some other films. He was like a rising. That's how he got Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and Eagle Eye, which Spielberg directed one and produced. I think he helped produce Eagle Eye. So Spielberg definitely had his eyes on the kid. So with that, people were kind of getting into the characters, no matter how goofy they are. I like the dad here. Again, was it Kevin Dunn? I know Kevin Dunn is a guy who was like in the backdrop of wrestling. I can't remember. Or is it something Dunn? I'm bad with names. But I know that the dad here, he was in the 1998 Godzilla film. He was in Small Soldiers. He's been in quite a few films, and I liked him as an actor. And pretty much it'll be this going back from the soldiers trying to escape to Shia and ultimately Decepticons and Bumblebee finding them, and then the military, the Pentagon doing their thing. I'm sure people are wondering, where are the Transformers when they don't pop up, when they don't appear? And that's the thing. I think with the first film, they were able to forgive it because it's the introduction, it's the first time. But each time, the Transformers were still in the backdrop. The human character story. And even when the Transformers in there, they're really poorly written or barely written. Oh, Ken Watanabe is a samurai, walking cliche. Mudflap and skids. The less said, the better in the second film. John Goodman, he loves to shoot things. Okay. But it's like they'll do like a basic. Try to throw some one-liners in there, and that's it. And here's the thing, like when you watch, if you watch the cartoon, even Transformers Prime, which I liked. Overall, I have some issues with it, but I liked the show overall. It was about 3 seasons. There was a movie, Predacons Rising. I have issues. I have flaws with it. But it was more enjoyable because you got to know the Transformers at least a little bit more as characters. Unlike this. Because for some reason, I've heard from the writers, as in, I think they did a commentary on the second film. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I swear they said, well, Spielberg said, that the audience would not accept the Transformers as the main characters, that it has to be a human point of view. And I'm sitting there going, it's not really the case, because kids were able to accept the Transformers or the Ninja Turtles or all these other characters through their point of view, because the characters would walk and talk and have personalities, and then other people kind of look at them and maybe they create fan fiction, they create stories, other people take and reiterate and go in this direction, that direction. So to think that you can't do it because they're not human is very narrow-minded. It's very surprising from Spielberg. But at the same time, okay, it's not E.T. who can barely talk. It's not a shark it's a shark. And Megan Fox, I never thought she could act for shit. She was a hot piece of ass, and a hot piece of ass. That's it. That's all the personality she has. She always sucked. She was always horrible. She was always terrible. She could act for shit. and she's an asshole of a human being. I remember when that 2014 Ninja Turtle film came out, and people, understandably so, said, "Oh, it looks like shit, and the designs look like shit, and what's this stuff we hear that they're aliens?" And then even then, they look ugly as fuck. And then she's like, "Well, if you don't like this, you're not a real fan." You're not a real fan either. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck off, bitch. You can't ask for shit. You're only, because of your looks, you have a vapid mind, you have vapid of limit of charisma, limited to whatever the fuck fits here and here in this fucking box you put in the ocean and put an anchor on and dip into the valley of where the dead scrolls are. I didn't even notice the damn thing says biatch on the damn in between the two hanging off the air freshener. I didn't even see it's biatch. Like sometimes the humor is like, "Hey bro, college humor bro, yeah." Like college bro douchebags. It was part of me sometimes wonder if Michael Bay was one of those guys growing up. He probably was. But Megan Fox can't act. She never could act. Look at her face going, Jesus Christ. And she's had multiple films to prove it. You say, well, it's the Transformer films, the way they're written. What was that movie with Josh Brolin? Jonah Hex. She was in Jonah Hex. She sucked in that. She was in that stupid horror movie where she was some alien took over her body. She sucked in that. She was in Road, where they're going after like a killer lion or something. She sucked in that. She was in Expendables 4. She sucked in that. She was in the 2014 and 2016 Ninja Turtle films. She sucked in that. She was god awful. She has no fucking charisma. Okay, I don't care if you want to fuck her. Fine. Honestly, she's a nice body, nice ass, but at the same time, she has that face that just prune face. Fucking prune face. So I did you make the argument that this is a movie for teenage boys. Look at that ass, look at them tits. Hey, I don't blame you for that, but I don't know that's what people go see Transformer films for, but maybe it's just me. That's why, the more I thought about it, I would say Bumblebee probably is the better movie. And I did a tier list and I put it above it because I'm like, no, Bumblebee is almost the same story as this. A person gets Bumblebee, Bumblebee becomes their protector. But that one was a faster paced, and the characters were written a bit better. The designs of the robots looked better. They didn't have as much of that stupid humor. The actress in that could actually act unlike Megan Fox. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, just to say, I don't know what they go with Transformers forward. I really don't, because Transformers 1 had terrible marketing. But when I eventually saw it, I'm like, oh, I actually thought it was a pretty good film. But considering how bad Rise of the Beast and Last Night and the fourth, well, I had not seen the Last Night, but Rise of the Beast and the fourth one was, you can't blame me for being hesitant. And then to do a movie where the first trailer is just all titty comedy, which a lot of the film is not that. So it was like the worst way to market that film. Bad first impression. Like, seriously bad first impression. But it's too bad. Transformers 1 was actually pretty good. And they'll eventually reboot this. They'll eventually do something else. More likely live action, because it seems like live action makes more money than animation. At least that's what it seems like. But I think you got to give a bit of room for people to miss it. How can I miss you if you don't go away? Have it go away for a bit longer. But when you come back, you gotta have some kind of new take on it, so it's not just seems like a relic of these movies. I think if you come back and you work on the budget and you really work on the running time so it doesn't have to be almost 3 fucking hours long like some of these live action films were, and have the characters, have the Transformers be the characters and live action. And but I know that costs money, because the more they're on screen, the more special effects, the more CGI, the more they cost money. So the less screen time they have, the less expensive it is, because the actors will be a lot cheaper than the Transformers. So that's a reason too. Because each time a Transformer's on screen, there's a lot more money on there. You dropped it on the fucking floor and you still eat it? Dirty ass bitch. I think one of these writers had passed away. I forget which one. And they like wrote some of the other Star Trek movies, and to be honest, they didn't really have a good track record. Not saying every film they did was bad, but a lot of them weren't the greatest. And I don't think you needed these people that are like hackers, like these people. You didn't need them. No one gave a flying fuck about these people. That's why you never saw these people again in any of the movies. It's like, you're so forgettable. When I'm going to bring you back for part 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, or 6. So it shows how little people gave a shit and remember these computer techs. And there's a reason why you never see them again. Unless that lady, the blonde lady, was that the lady in the 4th film at the beginning? It looks like her, I don't know if it is. Like this blonde lady, it looks like the girl at the beginning of the 4th film. Although that was like the only scene she was in, it seemed. So yeah, I can't remember. The other people definitely didn't come back. Even Anthony Anderson. Which was surprised, because I would have thought they would have somehow put Anthony Anderson. This, at the time, it seemed like he was still a bit more of a known name. But that's the thing, it shows the danger. They're willing to kill. People do die in these movies. What sometimes may seem like it's a tonal shift. But at the same time, it shows that Decepticons are dangerous. They are murderers. They're willing to kill. And just how much more of a danger they are compared to the Autobots. Sometimes it can be a bit too much. T.J. Miller's character in the fourth film, where he just turned to like drizzly metal, frozen there in the middle of running, bit horrific. Granted, I don't like T.J. Miller, so I'm fine that he character died in the movie. Because he's an asshole that is willing to send out fucking bomb stairs as a joke. So fuck him. Such a stupid picture. Makes you wonder how that picture got there in the first place. Like, if he's selling these things, that means he would have put the picture up there. And if that's the case, like, you tell me you didn't have any other pictures of you? Oh, what else is that picture from? I don't even know. You ever think someone's stealing his car? But yeah. This is where we're finally going to get some Autobot action. I mean, I just technically you say with the Bumblebee driving. Like I said, I think you could get away with showing a little of this in the first movie. And, you know, it's a decent looking shot. Like, you see how far away and you see something in the distance that you can't quite believe is actually real. It is weird at times, like the Transformers kind of act like they've never been to Earth before. Yeah, these are the same Transformers that they were around, some of them, like during fucking World War II or some other shit. I'm like, what? Say what now? They were doing what in World War II? And they're working with the government? So if they're working with the government and the military, that's one thing John Turturro says, oh yeah, there's this thing in ice. And it happens to be, what, Metatron or whatever the hell it was. Can't remember. But you actually were... You were doing what? In World War II? Like working to fight the Nazis? You think that would have come up? Be an interesting factoid to come up with. Maybe it's just me. I'd imagine like if someone like younger got into this film and it's like, where's the Transformers? What the hell? Tired of these people walking and talking. Tired of these board meetings. And what's funny is with me, since I didn't grow up as much a Transformer fan, when I was watching the first two at least, and again this one I could deal with, I could watch as entertainment, as, you know, a bigger than life blockbuster, because it didn't seem as egregious compared to what comes after. And despite some of the stupid jokes, weirdly enough, it does kind of take itself a bit more seriously compared to what comes next. But at the same time, at the second film, I gave credence to just because I saw in the theater, and I saw this in the theater too, and it's big spectacle, big explosions, big action. You see it on the big screen, and if you're like me, you love action and explosions and epic mayhem, and I'm a sucker for that stuff when a lot of it's done practical and hopefully done well in a choreographed way. I'm a sucker for that stuff. Just that's the kind of stuff I grew up with or gravitate towards, those type of action films. You know, bigger than life Arnold, Stallone, you know, those type of movies. You always think, you know, like, when characters are in movies, you know they're not going to believe you, but they always tell the story that they know no one's going to believe them at. So by telling the story, you only make yourself look worse, more like an idiot, more like a liar, more like a lunatic. This guy thinks he's in fucking Ben Stiller's Starsky and Hutch. That's what it's like he's trying to be like Ben Stiller from Happy Gilmore. Go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep. But that character that Ben Stiller played became Starsky and Hutch, which was another film Ben Stiller was in. But see, I almost forgot about these guys, these military guys. It's been so damn long. Almost forgot about these guys. And sometimes there's a part of me that I wish we would just follow these military guys. Follow these military guys, and these Decepticons are hunting them, and they're trying to hold off, and they kill maybe one or two, but there's a lot more coming. You get into excursions like this, some more and more picked off, and then the Autobots come, and then the meeting. Who are you? And we're soldiers like you. We fought wars like you fought wars, but you haven't fought a war like this. And so they have to work together, and like there is a cool looking slow-mo shot that was used in a lot of the marketing material. Very cool looking shot. The slow-mo and Tyrese and the three soldiers, the thing in the back looking like a scorpion. That can work. I mean, we'll be here a little bit, then we leave and we go back to shy on them, and then the military guys, and then it'll be like seem like forever before we go back to these guys again. And that's just me, though. Sorry, the reason I'm silent is I'm trying to remember what the hell I was going to say before I went on that. Left cheek, left cheek, left cheek. Oh yeah, I mean, I was talking about it. I saw these in the theaters, and yeah, okay. So I didn't grow with Transformers. So when I saw the first two in the theaters, I liked them more then than I do now. I mean, this I could deal with. The second one, not so much. But I just looked at them as big, you know, spectacle set pieces after set pieces. But as time goes on, what happened was when the third one came out, I remember when I watched that film, I tried to review it. And literally, I remember doing that review over and over and over again. And when I review, I'm like, I'm trying to be nice about it. And I'm like, you know what? And this is like, it might have been on my older channel when this happened. I'm like, fuck this. This movie I think sucks. And I kind of went into it why I thought it sucked. In my opinion. I know people like that and think that's one of the better entries. To me, it thinks it's dark, but then, I don't know, it still has some of those stupid jokes, some of that stupid shit, some of the other pitfalls that some of these other films have. So. And that's when it really lost me. The fourth one I didn't see until years later on home video. And I remember when I was just watching that just because curiosity. And when it got to the Hong Kong stuff, it kept going and going, and I'm fast forwarding through it. It kept going, I fast forwarded it. When I reviewed it recently, about the time you see this, that review's up, because that was another request Lucas sent. I didn't fast forward it there. I watched it all the way through. And man, that's a chore to sit through. And then you have this thing, which I don't think I explained as well as I should have in the review for Transformers Age of Extinction. But this whole fucking Romeo and Juliet law. Oh, this girl's 17 and this guy's 20, and because the law says so, I could date her. Okay, but you said also that she was a sophomore and you were a senior when you guys started doing it. And I didn't explain this correctly because I was so fucking pissed during the review because it's such a stupid thing to have in the first place. In a fucking Transformers movie, no less. But I think that Romeo and Juliet law works only... I think one of the parties has to be 18. And then only like 3 years apart. But then if the one guy was 17 and the other girl was maybe like 14... Well, maybe he was 18. Well, they're 3 years apart. One's 17, one's 20. Well, I mean, I don't know, some seniors... you know what? Just having the whole fucking thing is stupid. It's still a 17... I don't give a fuck what law says. It's stupid law, stupid shit, stupid dumb shit. Why is this in a Transformers movie? To me, if you're going out with someone under 18, that's still going to be pedophilia. To me, it is. Because whether it's 17 or 14 or 13 or 17 and a half, it's still underage. So I'm sorry if some states are more stupid and fucked up than others. That's not my fault. Oh, here we have Anthony Anderson as this hacker guy. Yeah, and I'm surprised they never brought him back because, again, as time went on, he was on that TV show Blackish and other stuff. Like, he would appear in... Actually, it was before this, Kangaroo Jack. But he appeared in other films as like, oh yeah, he was in Romeo Must Die, Cradle to the Grave, Kangaroo Jack. Whether you like or hate those movies, there's still movies that went in the theaters that people heard about. It's just one of those things I'm surprised they didn't have him come back and give it a bigger role and stuff. Yeah, and of course the time period. You have all this George W. Bush stuff around. You see the Bush thing there by the computer. When the president, you didn't see his face, but you saw like his red socks and his feet, and he's supposed to be seeming like this imbecile. I mean, yeah, I want to be reminded of fucking George W. Bush. It's weird, like you really just how long we're into the film and we still haven't had Transformers fighting each other. And again, with the first movie, people forgive it. Did you try to build it up? Compared to other films that, you know, again, the fourth film where it's just tons of fucking action Hong Kong. Because even that was stupid because this big thing with the seed, whole other MacGuffin thing in Transformers 4, Age of Extinction, where you have to protect Stanley Tucci and Mark Wahlberg and his daughter and the race car pedophile guy. And sorry, I'm noticing the fucking big Burger King right there. Gee, I wonder if they were a sponsor for this film. Have you heard of Burger King? I like Burger King actually. I usually go to McDonald's, but if I don't feel like McDonald's and I want fast food, I'll go to Burger King. Granted, if I say my favorite fast food place, number one, I would say McDonald's because I'm just so used to it since I was a kid. The French fries, the chicken nuggets and stuff. My second favorite is actually Long John Silver's, but there are no Long John Silver's around here, sadly. I wish there was, because I would go there a lot, because I love their chicken, I love the shrimp, I love even the hush puppies, even all the little crumbs they will gather around it. I like that stuff. The French fries I like, because a lot of them will have that kind of crumb stuff around the French fries. I really love Long John Silver's, but it just a few years ago when I went back to Iowa a bit, I was able to get some, but sadly, none around here. But I would say that's my second favorite. My third favorite would be Popeye's chicken, but they don't have Popeyes around here, which is crazy. Here it is, Texas, and you don't have a fucking Popeyes nearby. Not even a KFC, although probably maybe I should be glad there's no KFC. There's I forget what it is, Chicken Express or something, but I don't know. You look at you hear and look about it, I don't know if that would be actually worth it. So here you have this Decepticon trying to get Shia LaBeouf. I don't even, you know what? I don't even remember which movie and this Decepticon died in. Like this one who's the cop car. Because I don't remember if he dies in this one, dies in the next one. I don't remember because so many Decepticons look the fucking same and all this other stuff, man. I really don't. Oh yeah, my fucking point I keep forgetting about. I got off on tangent on fucking fast food. But yeah, Burger King I do like. See, there you go. It did its job. Maybe think of fucking Burger King for 5 fucking minutes. But yeah, I was given leeway to the first 2 films. The third film lost me. The fourth film, it was hard to even sit through. I didn't even watch the 5th one. Then Michael Bay produced the Ninja Turtles film from 2014. In fact, I'm going to turn on the subtitles. I'm going to have this off for a bit. Just that it's hard to have headphones on. Just, I had stuff I had to do earlier with the headphones on, so I'll put them back, but I got the subtitles on. But yeah, the 2014 Ninja Turtles film, produced by Michael Bay, came out. And those are more of the characters I like. Those are more of the characters I enjoy. Those are more of the characters I get into and I am a sucker for and I grew up with. That I am partial to. That I am a fanboy of. So when they make that film, and while Michael Bay just produced it, you see all the influences in it, with some of the action scenes, and Megan Fox being in it, and some of the angles they have, and the way Shredder looks, where Shredder looks like fucking Megatron from one of these movies, to how they make the turtles so big to have these fight scenes as if it's a fucking Transformers film. And then, oh, their shells are bulletproof, and then you have that stupid humor put in. Mikey farting in his brother's faces when they're stuck in a sewer tunnel. Mikey saying, I can feel my shell tightening, meaning he's having a hard-on because he's looking at Megan Fox. Product placement, you see Burger King there. Here, it was like, and that it was like Orange Crush, or whatever the hell it was. It just makes things so much more obvious, and you go, oh, I get it. I get why a lot of people are mad about these Transformer films. Now, there's a lot who are diehard fans of them, but there's also a good chunk who are not. I get that now. Okay, I can't imagine that something made of metal would grab you, touch you. You would have so many marks and nicks and cuts on you because it's heavy metal. Any heavy metal that jumps on you and is moving around, even if it nicks you a little bit, you don't have bruises and cuts and everything all over. So what the fuck? And you're not going to be able to kick a fucking piece of metal like a field goal without breaking your fucking foot. Because it's still made of metal. Not plastic, metal. So you don't kick a piece of metal like you kick at a football, but you're not going to break your foot. And then, yeah, really, like the Bumblebee fight with the cop car, you don't even get to see most of the fight. Because you got too busy seeing Shia LaBeouf with this little asshole robot. So most of the fight with Bumblebee and the cop, you don't even get to see. Bumblebee, you're not the Iron Giant, okay? But yeah. But yeah, when I saw in the 2014 Ninja Turtles film, I'm like, I did it. So then when I watch these films now, I just remind of the bullshit that happened in that and the 2016 film. Which that film had even less ninja action in a film called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So this have less ninja action. They don't even really fight Bebop and Rocksteady. Casey Jones, the cop, fights it by himself. The Turtles play fuck games with them for 30 seconds on a plane. Then on top of that, they're rolling down the river while Bebop and Rocksteady are in a tank. Raph saves Donnie from a tank shell. And then next time you see Bebop and Rocksteady, Casey Jones fights both of them and defeats both of them. Seriously? Casey Jones can defeat those two by himself, but the Turtles couldn't? And you didn't even give him a fight? They didn't even fight Shredder round 2, and you know. Most of the Foot Clan they don't fight. They fight Crane, and it's almost a carbon copy of the fight with Shredder in the first movie. So what the fuck? What the fuck? There's that little bit where they're in the turtle van. Raph clotheslines some fools. Really, not much of fighting like in that movie, really. Hell, the first movie, the big deal was the going down the mountain. And there's really no action in the second film. They even managed to that action scene in the first movie. So, and don't get me started on the character. I could go on a 30-minute tangent on those Ninja Turtle movies. I really could. So. Of course, a lot of cars, a lot of stuff to sell, a lot of stuff that you get deals on. Put this in our movie, and Michael Bay would be happy about that. And yeah, it's funny, like, we're almost an hour in and we still haven't seen Optimus Prime with it. I think we're about ready to. And then, like, some of these Autobots, like, they're here, then they're not in the next one, then they disappear. And you're wondering, where the hell did this one go? Where the hell did that one go? Now, eventually, I think most of these guys die. Because I think one of them Leonard Nimoy kills. One of them dies in the fourth film, Ratchet, from the humans. I don't even remember. This kid can barely run. Keep talking about Armageddon. It was so much better than Armageddon. Because I know even Michael Bay doesn't like Armageddon. I think Michael Bay has said that's one of his least favorite movies he's done. Because he felt like there's a lot more he could have done, and so on and so forth. Which is funny because it's one of the movies was a bigger hit. Why do they spend so much time on this fucking fat guy? Spend so much fucking time on him. So yeah, the idea is that they scan these vehicles and then I don't know why this always reminded me of the Lost World Jurassic Part 2, where was it like the dog and there was like the T-Rex drinking, and doesn't like the T-Rex go into the city and stuff. So there's Optimus, he just sees some random semi go by. For what I'm doing, I'm trying to look up some information on stuff. Roberto Orsi and Alex Kurtzman wrote it. Roberto Orsi is the one who passed away this year in February. And they worked on The Island I like, but The Legend of Zorro wasn't a fan of. Mission Impossible 3 I don't mind. I don't mind Eagle Eye, but well, actually, no. Eagle Eye, they were just a producer. But yeah, they wrote Star Trek 2009. They wrote Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, Star Trek Into Darkness, Star Trek Beyond, The Mummy. I like Cowboys and Aliens. I would say that's my favorite film they worked on. Because you have Peter Cullen coming back to voice Optimus Prime. So what it says here is Don Murphy was initially interested in developing a G.I. Joe film, but then decided to develop a Transformers film after the U.S. went to war against Iraq in 2003. Him and Tom DeSanto developed the project in 2003, and DeSanto wrote a treatment. Steven Spielberg came on board as executive producer the following year, and hired Orsi and Kurtzman to write the screenplay. Product placement deals with General Motors, Burger King, and eBay. It made $709 million against a $145 to $200 million budget. Yeah, I mean, the gimmick of Bumblebee not being able to talk and using the radio was Optimus Prime, the World Wide Web. The whole gimmick of him not being able to talk maybe was cute the first time, but they used that over and over again got very tiresome. And you're like, just fucking talk, dude. He talks at the end of the first movie. At the end of this movie, he's able to talk and says, I want to stay and protect the boy. And when there's danger afoot, you trying to talk cute by using the radio seems like not the way to go. Just saying. Yeah, that's just me. But yeah, you have Shia LaBeouf, which he kind of lost his mind later on and started doing all this weird, stupid shit. Tyrese, which the last thing I remember him doing is crying over The Rock. Josh Duhamel, I think he's like working in some films that went direct to video or streaming now. John Turturro, he did that movie. He plays his character for The Big Lebowski that no one saw. Kevin Dunn, yeah, Kevin Dunn was the father's name. Bernie Mac. Yeah, you have Jazz, Ratchet, Ironhide. I don't even remember what happened to these characters. So Jazz is the one who dies in at the end of this one he dies. You want a piece of me, Megatron? No, I want two. And ripping Jazz in half and killing him. And then Sam kills Megatron. So Jazz dies in this one. Then Ratchet, he died in Age of Extinction, locked down and the humans killed him and he's melted into parts. And then Ironhide died. He's the one who died in the... Isn't Ironhide the one who died in... Yeah. So yeah. He did it because Anthony Anderson's fat, so he likes donuts. He's fat, so he likes donuts. And so the fat guy ate the donuts, and that's funny. Because fat guys eat donuts. In case you don't know that, and that means it's funny. But then have him explain how it's okay to eat the donuts. So yeah, of the Autobots where you see 1, 2, 5 of them, 3 of them die throughout the films. And they do so little in terms of development, character work, that you're kind of like, okay, that one died. Okay, that one died too. And I don't feel anything. I literally had to look and go, oh yeah, that one does die at the end of this one. And then the other does die in the third one. The other does die in the fourth film. And yeah, Darius McCrary, the older son, Eddie Winslow from Family Matters, he plays Jazz. The one who gets ripped apart at the end. Yeah, only Optimus Prime and Bumblebee survive. What about Barricade? What happened to Barricade? In Dark of the Moon, he appears being shot in the head by a group of soldiers after a boomstick blew off one of his legs. But then he returns in the last night, transforming into a police interceptor helicopter. Oh no, 4 Mustang police interceptors, sorry. Man. Had to look this up just to keep these things fucking straight. So yeah, Spielberg, a fan of the comics and toys, signed on in 2004. John Rogers wrote the first draft, which pitted 4 Autobots against 4 Decepticons and featured the Ark spaceship. Spielberg suggested that a boy in his car should be the focus. In the first draft, the Transformers had no dialogue, as the producers feared talking robots would look ridiculous. The writers remained involved throughout production, adding additional dialogue for the robots during the sound mix scene, although none of this was kept in the final film. Spielberg asked Michael Bay in 2005, but he said, I'm not going to do a stupid toy movie. He wanted to work with Spielberg, though. Visited Hasbro. He increased the military's role in the story. Some of the names were changed because Bay was upset they had been leaked. Optimus, Megatron, Bumblebee, and Starscream were the only characters present in each version of the script. RC was cut because they found it difficult to explain robotic gender, and Bay disliked her motorcycle form, saying she's too small. Spielberg encouraged Bay to restrict CG to the robots and background elements and the action sequences. Oh, that's a good thing. I did not want to make the boxy characters. It's boring, it would look fake. By adding more doodads and stuff on the robots, more car parts, you could just make it more real. It's a fucking Transformer movie. It's not real, dude. None of it is fucking real. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, Michael Bay. None of it is fucking real. So, some of these just stuff like that just is fucking stupid. And I don't know if I need, Optimus Prime hiding among the fucking flowers, hiding from our guy's mom. Is that what people want to see in a fucking Transformers movie? Hiding from fucking... I just imagine like you do a Ninja Turtle film and they're hiding amongst the fucking flower bed because some guy's mom might see them. What the fuck? Well, that is funny. I typed it in just out of curiosity, Transformers movie, and I put news, and it says there's reports saying that Michael Bay may do another Transformers film. Comicbookmovie.com. According to Puck, the filmmaker is developing a new Transformers movie at Paramount Pictures that he intends to direct. Bay approached the studio last year to come back as a hands-on producer and possibly director. He's got writer Jordan Van Dina worked on the script. It's one of 5 or so Transformer projects of development. One of 5? That David Ellison and Skydance will inherit if when the Paramount sale closes. What Paramount sale? Possible G.I. Joe Transformers movie. They've been talking about that forever. Bay acknowledged, I made too many of them. Spielberg said just stop at 3, and I said I'd stop. The studio bade me to do a 4th, and then that made $1 billion. And I said I'm going to stop, and they bade me again. I should have stopped. They were fun to do, though. Granted, I remember the news also said that Michael Bay's going to do the Stibbity Toilet movie, and that was false. And that got spread like wildfire. So you never know with news. Someone could hear something and it spreads like wildfire. This guy said, so it must be true. We gotta put it up first because we gotta make sure we get it up first, even though it might not be correct. And if it's not correct, oopsie daisy. Oh well. But who the fuck is Puck News? And why did they get it? Yeah, it's very funny when you have the idea of killing the humans. Fucking hilarious. So yeah, I was just looking up some information on that. So now we're introduced to John Turturro's character. Which, I mean, he's one of the better parts, where he's definitely having a lot of fun with this stuff, a lot of fun with this role. And he's trying. With what he's given, he's trying. I see he's definitely having fun with the role. Oh god, there's an hour and 5 minutes left. Jesus Christ. This is what's tough about doing commentaries, is to think of stuff to talk about for the entire damn time. Like, seriously. Like, goddamn. Like, I've already, like, running out of shit to say. And, of course, my fucking soda, I didn't drink yet. You know what? I'm gonna let it keep going. I'm not missing anything. It's just people fucking around with their dog and John Turturro. I'm just gonna let it keep going so that the pacing doesn't screw up with people. So, just let the movie keep playing. I'll be back. Take care of this stuff. So yeah, someone that's actually cold. Actually cold. Alright. So, I mean, all I miss is them being put into the car and John Turturro talking with them. Yeah, I do have the subtitles on so I can hear what they're saying, or understand what they're saying. I do like John Turturro as an actor. I do think he's good in the role for what's given to him. I don't know, maybe it's funny enough the fact that you kind of save up the action in a way for the Autobots. Maybe in a way for this first film kind of helped it, because then when you see it, it's like a reward for waiting. So then when the action hits the fan in the third act, it's like, oh, you get what you came for, and it's fresh and new, and you haven't seen this kind of stuff before, so it makes people go, whoa, and you feel the scale of it, of how much taller they are compared with the humans. And Peter Cullen does a great job as Optimus Prime, like always. He's been the voice of Optimus Prime for most of it, other than Transformers 1. There may have been other stuff, but most of the things I've seen, Peter Cullen's been the voice of Optimus Prime, because he definitely loves the character. I know it was the third or fourth film, might have been the fourth film, there was some stuff he didn't want to do, he didn't want to say, he wasn't really comfortable with saying. I'll kill them all. Which is understandable, because it sounds like he's Kurt Russell from Soldier, but The idea is Optimus Prime, he's in the middle of a war, his buddies have died, so you want to see a bit different Optimus Prime, but at the same time, when people like the character for so long, and like, okay, Superman, do I want to see Superman here and say that? No. And I hate to do this, I'll be right back. Sorry about that, which I know is ironic because I went and left it running, but this was something I had to do. Did not know how long it would take, so this time I figured I would pause it. I'm paused at 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 49 seconds. Unpause now. So, sorry about that. It is at 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 54 seconds, 55 seconds. Megan Fox is talking. Not saying anything worth a shit, though, because she can't act for shit. And then there's John Turturro, part of this secret Black Ops thing, which you think he would know a bit about in the fourth film and try to help and try to, I don't know, warn someone. Like, you think he would know about this Black Ops thing? Because, yeah, you need to see Bumblebee piss on someone. Just like you need to see Mighty fart in the 2014 Ninja Turtles live-action film. So in one, he pisses, and in the other, he farts. These characters, like, come the fuck on, dude. You fucking serious. This wannabe, he's got a wannabe Superman shirt. He's got, what's his, yeah. The weird boxer shorts. Sometimes you just go, what? Trying to think is, I know at some point Bumblebee gets captured. Maybe it's not here because Optimus Prime is with them. But I mean, it does the job of making you feel like big, you know, like the scale of it, how tall these things are, compared with the cars. To, you know, the camera is very low, showing them looking up this way, so it's our point of view of how big these Transformers are. So they definitely do a good job showcasing the scale of these things, the bigger than life quality of these characters. And yet how, you know, those are real helicopters. Nowadays, they could just make them CG helicopters, and you could tell. But you see that they're real helicopters doing real things. That's a real car. So it gives a tangible, physical quality to it, and that definitely helps. And making the scenes, quote, more believable. Yeah, I think this is where he gets caught, yeah. Which is funny, because Bumblebee also gets caught similar way in the film Bumblebee. Which is weird that they made the film Bumblebee and then some aspects just kind of like the same as it was in the 2007 film, and it's a prequel. But yeah, it is what it is. At least Shia tries. He gets tackled for it, but at least he tries. That's what I mean. Like the character is a bit more easy to manage in this one compared to some of the later ones. Yeah, he Optimus Prime not wanting to hurt humans in that way. Very different from in Part 4. There's the glasses as the big MacGuffin for the whole thing. Notice how long it's been since we've seen those soldiers? Remember those soldiers? Josh Duhamel, Tyrese. Been a while since we've heard from them, haven't it? And haven't we? And that's the thing, like, people don't go back to go, man, I love those scenes where John Voight is walking around monitors being, more and more crazed, upset, slamming down phones and shit. I remember this. The rover on Mars. This stuff was part of the very, very first teaser. You see a shadow, you see that. Yeah, the very, very early teaser, it was, again, you're not sure what it is, and it's a rover on Mars. You see a shadow, then you see someone hit it, and you go, what the hell? And they did a good job marketing it. Very good job. I didn't you see, like, the teaser seemed very serious. Even the trailer, we had the build up, and yeah, that music, boom, 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 like this kind of elevating tension that it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Which, in a way, sells a film that at times is serious, But then again, you got John Malkovich, John Turturro being silly. You got Bumblebee pissing on John Turturro. You got, the stuff between Shia and Maiden, other stuff, the Transformers hiding in flower patches. As I always forgot about the Hacker folks, I almost forgot about the Soldier folks, and now we did. Again, these Hacker folks, we did not need these folks here. I don't think anyone would have given a fuck if you could have rewritten the script and all this shit with the Hacker shit would not have been needed. They got the Pepto-Bismol was facing the camera, so we know it's called Pepto-Bismol. Thank you. Appreciate it. With a pre. Again, they give the bare minimum on the Transformers as characters. But Peter Cullen tries, man, with his voice and stuff. That gravitas, he fucking tries, man. He fucking tries. And here we're at the dam. Which, anytime I think about, I always think about, funny enough, Vegas Vacation. I'm your damn guide, and does anyone have any damn questions? Yeah, do you have any damn bait? I think the special effects guys, they did fairly well. I mean, for a film from 2007, the special effects, the CGI actually looks pretty good. Especially in the up close shots of the Autobots and stuff. Like the special effects, again, from 2007, which is, God, almost 20 years ago, which is crazy because it's 2025. So, 2007, 20 years later would be 2027. So yeah, almost 20 years ago this film is. That's crazy. That is fucking crazy. This film's almost 20. So it's 18. God, even then, 18 years. 18 years this film came out. 18 years ago. Jesus. And yeah, I do remember seeing this in the theater, so how time flies. My God. And then, ironically enough, it's the same year that the CGI TMNT movie came out, which didn't do anything box office wise. I think just sadly, if it's animated, people don't seem as done. Well, I just technically Mutants, Mayhem made money enough to make a sequel. But TMNT 2007 did. I have flaws with the 2007 TMNT film, I do, but I do think that was a better movie. So the fact that I didn't get a sequel, but this Mutant Mayhem is getting a sequel. Such a shit show, but this is why we can't have good things. Just how many of these movies made $1 billion, but Dread, they made shit. I know they're very, very different things. Like I said, nostalgia, hype, marketing, all the stuff that comes into play. I get it. I get it. I'm just talking into the air. Funny enough, this reminds me of Independence Day when everyone finds out about Area 51 and they go there and they find out the secrets that a sector of the government was keeping. And that's where a lot of our characters finally get together. So that's where you did Jeff Goldblum, and there's Bill Pullman, and there's Will Smith, and Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith get to talk to each other and all this stuff. Just like here, you got Shia, then there's Josh Duhamel, and then there's Tyrese, and all these folks. John Voight, Anthony Anderson. The old spark. Which they made such a big fucking deal about it, but then, it gets used upon Megatron, and then Megatron comes back, and then he's Galvatron, then he's Megatron back again, and then the Allspark actually didn't create life. It was fucking, the metallic alloy in the fourth film, and then whatever the fuck MacGuffin was in the second and the third, and then whatever the fuck is in the fifth, and the Knights and the Round Table. It's like the Decepticons picked the right vehicles for the job. We picked a tank and a helicopter and all this other stuff, while, the Autobots have to pick just fancy cars. So there you see the Allspark baking this into a transformer. This phone. But then it's like, well, no, it was actually this alloy that they spread everywhere millions of years ago that fucked up the dinosaurs. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, they didn't give a shit. They did not give a fuck. They did not pay attention. They didn't give a shit. They didn't give a fuck. Did not give a rat's fucking asshole. They didn't give a shit. If you don't give a shit, why do I not give a... Anyway, whatever. Yeah, this little Decepticon fucked everything up. What a little asshole. I mean, I'm sure doing these films, it's a lot of fun to do, fun to be a part of, fun to make. And like if they said, "Hey, Matt, do one of these movies," I'd be like, "Sure." And that's the thing with the actors. I'm sure a lot of them, it's like, yeah, this script is fucking dumb, but it's probably going to pay well. You're going to probably, when you can sleep, probably be in decent places, decent food during lunch, and they'll give you the bits to take care of because they got so much money to spend. And man, it's just a lot of fun to play. They're fun to do. I played action and action figures back in the day. One of the reasons I like Josh Duhamel's character, and I wish he was in it more, and part of me wishes he was the lead. That's the weird thing. Like, why didn't they just have him take over in the fourth film? I highly doubt that if you write Josh Duhamel, build up his character. You have a little bit of that he has a wife and a kid and all this anyway. He's got a daughter. I mean, like, you could. Plus, it would help with continuity and all that stuff. Like, you could do stuff, man. And then maybe him and Bumblebee have a different relationship because, listen, I know I'm not Sam, okay? But we fought together. We barely know each other. And that while Bumblebee doesn't trust him because it's not Sam, although he's seen the guy help him, like in this stuff. I think there's more you could have done, a lot more. But no, let's put in a brand new character called Cade Yeager. Yeah, doesn't it where, yeah, like a, not, I want to say like a Rubik's Cube, but almost like the, I don't say the configuration from Hellraiser, but no, it's just, make it so them, there's a reason why we cut away, because it'd be even hard to explain to the audience to make it that fucking small. And impossible. You see that? Like, John Turturro tries. I keep saying he tries. He succeeds in what he succeeds in what he was told to do. So did John Turturro and Josh Duhamel. Tyrese doesn't have a whole lot to do, but when he's there, he does fine. Here's my question. Why didn't you have Bumblebee just go over there and shoot the shit out of Megatron while he was frozen? Well, I mean, the subtitles are still on. That's a question. You know Megatron's bad news. You know Bumblebee could help. Why don't you, Bumblebee, just go, I'm going to shoot the shit out of Megatron, bam, 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 while he's fucking frozen. He can't move. Shoot him in the fucking head. Don't care how much ice or whatever the fuck he has. Just shoot him in the fucking head. Until there's nothing left and he's dead. Then you shoot him in the chest, and you shoot him in the nuts, you shoot him in the other shit. You could have done that, and you didn't. For some fucking reason. Well, you could have done it. But no. Because I just thought of it. Like, yeah, Megatron's frozen, Bumblebee is there. Why don't you just have Bumblebee shoot him while Megatron's frozen? But, you know. Go figure. So you have this group try to get word out. Again, when you look at stuff at the end of the day, was all this stuff necessary? With Anthony Anderson and this hacker lady or scientist lady, whatever, no. You didn't need it. You could easily rewrite it so that you don't have to deal with that shit. How convenient that Optimus Prime and them was on that same fucking road at the same fucking time. On that same fucking day. How convenient. Because a lot of, I'm sure, there's probably other roads, but, you know, just saying. I don't even know how the fuck he sees through that dusty ass computer monitor. Steve Jablonsky, he does a decent job on the score here. He does. The scores to the other films I barely remember, but it's like some of the main themes. That boom 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 dun 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 dun. Now, Michael Bay definitely has some experience doing these highway chases because of films like Bad Boys 2. Like Bad Boys 2, that chase scene is still one of my favorite car chase scenes in a movie. And like that's a cool shot. Going through the bus cut in half. You really see the bus cut in half and the fire explosions are real. They popped that thing's eye out. There you go, right under the chin. Now that is one of the fun bits in these movies is when you get to see Optimus Prime wreck some shit. Usually there's at least one or two moments where Optimus Prime, gets this badass moment, and that's nice to see. I'm sure someone has done like a montage or a collection of clips of, all those times Optimus Prime has done that. Speaking of Bad Boys 2, here's a shot that. He's pretty much taken from Bad Boys 2. Although he doesn't go all the way with it. He does a little bit of it. Because in Bad Boys 2, there's a scene where Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, it goes literally in a 360. It goes through the bullet holes. You want to talk? Well, guess what? They can't hear you because of the gunfire, because of the bullets. But it's a really cool shot. And I mean, I love Bad Boys 2. I do. It's my favorite Michael Bay film. I saw it in the theater twice. I had such a good time with that movie because it's Michael Bay unbridled but R-rated, go for broke. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence do a good job. Very violent and crazy, and the action scenes are insane, and it had the type of action this film has, only it has more of that, cops and robbers, type of action that's more my forte. And it's funny, like Josh Duhamel and Tyrese are kind of like G.I. Joe in this, in a way. Like Josh Duhamel is almost like Duke. That'd be funny if you don't know his name. Well, we do know his name, so it's not, but if they didn't tell his name and then you find out at the end his name or nickname is Duke. Duke, what? Oh god, on the truck, Furby. I don't know how many people remember that. Like Furby was a thing, that you never hear anybody talk about that, but for a chunk of time, people would not shut up about Furbies. These little things, little, I would say gremlins, but more like the Mogwais, like Gizmo. Like a lot of these creatures look like Gizmo, these toys, and you're supposed to like feed them and take care of them and blah blah blah. It's a Furby, but that was a 15 minutes of fame type of thing, and that was a fad. I actually want to look up Josh Duhamel, what films he's done. As we're definitely getting to the action heavy third act. Although, at least it doesn't feel like it goes on for 2 hours like that scene in Transformers 4 in Hong Kong. Just holy shit, that one goes on forever. This one at least does not. So I did appreciate that. A case I could say less is more. And usually for me, I want more and more of action, but this is a case that less and more actually kind of works out. So I'm looking up Josh Duhamel. He's 52 years old. Damn, didn't realize that. So he was in When a Ted. What Ted? When. Oh, yeah, this is the shot that people remember. One of the big shots. The slow mo, the woman screaming. Ah. Who is that lady? I wonder who that lady is. I'm sure I could find it. Look. Give me enough time to look, but. So, When a Date with Ted Hamilton, Turistas. Okay, he was in Turistas. That's what I thought. This film, he was in the second film. He was in the third film, barely. Life as We Know It, When in Rome, New Year's Eve, Fire with Fire, Safe Haven. He did like romantic drama stuff. You're Not You, Lost in the Sun. Hmm. Misconduct. Misconduct with Al Pacino and Anthony Hopkins? I don't remember that film. Yeah, most of these films I've never even heard of. The Lost Husband, Think Like a Dog. And Megan Fox was in that with Josh Duhamel? Wow. Okay. He was in Blackout, where the poster looks just like fucking John Wick. Shotgun Wedding. London Calling. Off the Grid. So that's another action film. Off the Grid, London Calling. Yeah. Bandit with Mel Gibson. So yeah, a lot of films that never even fucking heard of or don't know. So yeah, like Bumblebee's out of commission because he has no legs. Almost at the start of the fight. Optimus Prime during this big fight doesn't do much except try to fight Megatron and get his ass kicked. So then it's these other three, Jazz and Ironhide and Ratchet, and we know so little of them. Oh, we finally got Optimus Prime doing something, so here you go. But other than Optimus Prime, the others, like, we know so little about this, like, should I fucking care what happens? They've barely been characters. Like, if they, Jazz gets killed and it's like, so? So what, Jazz is dead? Do you want to really give a shit that Jazz died? I always forget that Hugo Weaving is the voice of Megatron. I always forget that. But of course, Hugo Weaving, who did Agent Smith in the Matrix trilogy, and he was in Captain America as the Red Skull, and like here's just and that's the thing with some of these robots. Like some of them get shot, and it's as if it's nothing. Or they'll get shot 2 or 3 times and still nothing. Okay, they're wounded, but then it seems like they're okay, and or they're not too bad, or whatever the case. I think just the fun of it is just how big it is, just how big a scale the whole thing is, and just how much like physical destruction is showcased. I forgot there was a Mountain Dew. There's a Mountain Dew Transformer. I forgot. Just like when I reviewed Age of Extinction, I forgot there's a fucking Oreo Transformer for like one scene. But yeah, fucking Oreo Transformer, and then as soon as it does something, it dies. So you have a Mountain Dew Transformer. There you go. See, I forgot about that. That was a thing. I do like the idea of Bumblebee being the back of his vehicle, and like at least it's something different and something a bit more unique. Bumblebee, someone having to drive for him, and he's just shooting. Again, there's a bit of variety in the action sequence, which I think is very cool. And getting the cars out of the way too. I definitely think it's one of the best parts in the whole finale is this whole thing. It's a nice badass moment for Bumblebee. Clearing the way, kicking ass, shooting his cannon. The other thing is when Josh Duhamel does the thing on the motorcycle where he slides and shoots the Decepticon. That's a pretty. That's a badass moment too. Sorry, I got a text from someone. Of course, I mean, if he got on if he got out of the helicopter and rode away, wouldn't be. I mean, can you imagine that? Nah. Imagine having a movie like do that. It was okay, it's different, not what I expected, but kind of a weird way to end the movie. But that's the thing is, Optimus Prime just gets his ass kicked, and then Shia LaBeouf has to be the one to save the day because he's the lead character. Yes, we can all do it. In the eyes of the audience, even you can be what makes the difference in saving the world. Even this kid who's just a regular kid who is awkward and he could get the hot girl and he could save the whole world. Which I get the idea. I do. I just, to be fair, Optimus Prime did save him and help him, so it's not like he did nothing. By the end, it's just the scale. Like, people were not seeing this type of scale. Because, yeah, remember, this is 2007. This is before Marvel and this type of big action set piece was the norm. It wasn't really the norm, you know? Not really. It wasn't typical. Nowadays, this just seemed like typical thing that would be done, but that wasn't the case back then. It was not the case back then. So, it's not what people expected, people thought. Because again, like, nowadays, like, after you have Iron Man, you got Captain America, you got all this other stuff that would seem, again, typical. Like some you see every day now or every other day. You know, another random Marvel, DC comic book movie comes out and it'd be this big bombastic action scene, but it'd be a lot more CGI. A lot more CGI. So it'd be a lot more typical. At least as it seems like to me. Thing does for a lot of people. But again, this is 2007, so it wasn't. Sorry. Gotta respond to someone. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry about that. Had to do something real quick. Oh, here's the shot. It's such a cool shot. Sliding on the motorcycle, badass, shooting from under. Such a cool, badass moment. Probably easily one of my favorite moments in the movie. Because I like Josh Duhamel's character. Sliding him, just total badass. Like, yeah! Get him, motherfucker, get him! I love that stuff. So cool. And like this stuff is neat. I mean, you know, seeing go from the plane to Decepticon to the plane to Decepticon again, all without cutting. You know, that is a very cool thing to see. Like, oh wow, that's neat, and you know, you had not seen anything like that before, and it felt fresh. So people, you just got excited, and even though there was a build up, because you have all this stuff happening they've never seen this before, it feels so refreshing that you forgive or be fine with the slow build up because they feel like they're getting a payoff. And yeah, it seems like okay, this will kill, destroy Megatron, but of course he comes back and does this. Because they always come back. They always, no matter what, they always come back. I think. Okay, that's the thing. Like he comes back, then it's like the. Isn't like the third one? He's like one of them. Like Optimus Prime just kills him. I can't remember. See, and it's like now he's got his real voice, but then wants to stop using that later for some reason. Don't ask me why. Yeah, just by the. What was it, by the second or third film? Megatron comes out of the ocean, and then. Yeah. Isn't in the third film he comes out of the ocean, but then at the end, Optimus Prime supposedly kills him after. Yeah, they kill the Fallen. Because Megatron's like, no, I will do this because one of them called, yeah, because Shia LaBeouf's girl called Megatron a bitch, pretty much, and then Optimus Prime kills him. But then he comes back in the fourth one as Galvatron. Then all of a sudden he's Megatron in the fifth one, and in the fifth one, isn't Megatron still alive by the end of the movie, or something like that? I can't remember. Yeah, Linkin Park. Which Linkin Park was the second film, and I think the third film they did songs. I don't know if they did ones after that. But yeah, this is a film that, I mean, we have these other scenes. We have that with the parents talking here and stuff. I don't know, for me, it's not really stuff I really care about one way. I mean, one way or the other, I guess. So yeah, by the second film, there was a writers' strike, and even Shia LaBeouf was talking about how when the third film was coming out, how there was no completed script and the film wasn't that good because they're here, then we're in Egypt, and why the hell are we in Egypt? The third film, I don't know. Anyway, I'm kind of done. Let me put it this way. This film, I don't mind for what it is. Special effects are very good. I think Shia LaBeouf does fine for what he needs to do. Megan Fox sucks. I like Josh Duhamel and Tyrese Gibson. I wish they were in the film more. John Turturro is fun. He plays a fun character. Anthony Anderson and the one lady, I don't think they needed to be in the film. I think you could have easily written it and taken them out. The film is still a bit too long. I don't think it needs to be over 2 hours long. Jazz, Ratchet, Ironhide, those are really nothing Autobot characters. Bumblebee is good. The whole thing, him not being talked in, worked for one movie, but they really leveled that in when they did it again and again and again. Peter Cullen does great as always as Optimus Prime. The use of a lot of practical explosions, cars flipping, sells the scenes a lot better than it was just all one big green screen. I do appreciate that. Because it's funny, like, there's not a lot of action, but because there's not just it doesn't feel so repetitive that you get wiped out like Transformers Age of Extinction, where there's so much there in that one Hong Kong scene. It's just, I see dust and fucking fire and glass, and the humor sucks, but sadly it's more low key compared to what comes in the future. The Decepticon with a big pair of balls, blood flapping skids, the rule of Romeo and Juliet in the fourth film, Ken Jeong in the third film, and John Malkovich being goofy, the weird psycho butler of Anthony Hopkins in the fifth film, fucking the whole art, the Knights of the Round Table, King Arthur shit. It's just a bit much. But this is doable, if that makes sense. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks once again, Lucas. And we will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye for now.